Now, before moving on to the making our own demo project, let's first see how to interface the DHT11 sensor with Node-RED. So DHT11 is a sensor model from which we can get the temperature and humidity data. Now, let me show you how to use it with the Node-RED. For that, you need to add a dedicated node for DHT11, and how to do that, we already discussed. Let's just repeat the steps. Just click here, go to Manage Palettes, click on Install. Here just type as DHT11. So in my case, I have already installed this particular node. You need to just click on the install button and you're good to go. After that, just click on the close button. So after you install this DHT11 node palette, a new node will appear under the Raspberry Pi section which says RPI DHT22. So we have two versions of this DHT sensor, DHT11 and DHT22. So don't worry, you can use DHT11 in this as well. Okay. So now let's see how to use it. For that, just drag and drop this node here. Double click on it. Here, just change the sensor that you have. In my case, I'm having the DHT11 sensor, so I will select this. I'll change the pin numbering to BCM GPIO, and here I will select the pin number as 4 as I have connected the DHT sensor with GPIO 4 of my Raspberry Pi board. And that's it. You can just name it if you want. I will name it as DHT11. That's it. Just click on the done button. Now, on the input side, I will add a node called inject. Okay. I'll connect this inject node with the DHT11. Okay, so as soon as you press the button, this DHT node will get signal and it will push the data in the output. Let's just connect a debug node to visualize the output. So yeah, so this is a basic configuration to get the sensor's data. And let's just deploy this code and let's see if we are getting the data or not. Let us click on the deploy button. Okay, so I'll go to this debug option and let's just give the signal with this inject module. Okay, so as you can see, I'm getting the data as 30. So this 30 reveals the 30 degrees Celsius temperature currently at my studio. But we didn't get the data of humidity. So how to get that? For that, you just need to click on the message.payload node and just change this message.payload to complete message object. Okay, click on done. So what was happening? So previously this debug node was getting the data of only message.payload. But right now we change it to get the complete message coming from that particular node. So that's the only change we did here. Let's just click on the deploy button. So now if I inject this, as you can see, I got a couple of data which includes the payload, which is 27 degrees Celsius, that's the temperature, the topic, the humidity value, which is 42%. Okay, and there are a couple of other things. Okay, so we got the complete data from this DHT11 node. Okay, so that's the thing. Now one question remains is how we can get the separate humidity data and separate temperature data from the single node. How to do that? For that, we will be using a very powerful node in Node-RED, and that is the function node. Let's see how to use it. So for that, I'll drag and drop this function node here. I'll delete this connection and I will connect DHT11 with the function node. Okay. So this function node will be separating the temperature data, and similarly, I'll add another function node which will be separating the humidity data. So yeah, so we successfully added two functions. Let's just try to configure the humidity function first. Okay, so double click on this. So let's first name this function as humidity data. Okay, so here we have what you can say code editor, you can say, in which we can write the code in JavaScript that we already discussed previously. So there is only one line written as return message. Now one thing you need to remember while using Node-RED is the data transferred between each node is stored inside the message object, and the main data like transfer from one node to another node is stored in message.payload. Okay, that's the main data. So now the question is how we can separate this humidity data from the message object, like the collection of data we are having, how we can separate the one data from it. For that, what I will do is, as I already told, the main data transferred is in the format of message.payload. So what we'll do, we will manipulate that variable and store the humidity value inside it. Now, how to do that? Let me show you. First of all, I will write as message.payload. Consider it as a variable. Okay. So in this variable, we need to store the data that we want. Okay. As I already stored, message.payload is the main we can say variable you can consider in which the data is stored. So what I will do, I will change this message.payload to message.humidity. Okay, you just need to be careful with the characters. Okay, I'll put the semicolon. So what we did here is we just transferred the data of message.humidity to the main data, that is message.payload, and that whole object is returned to another node. Okay, let's just click on done. If I connect this to this debug node and it change it to only message.payload, okay, so now I should get the humidity value at the output, the only humidity value in the output. Let us see if it is happening or not. Click on deploy button and let us inject the data. Great. So we got only humidity data, that is the 43% currently at my studio. So this is how you can filter the data. So similarly, let's filter the temperature sensors data. Well, the temperature sensor data is very simple. It's because the temperature sensor is stored inside the message.payload by default. Okay. So if I just put this function as it is, or if I don't put this function, then also I'll be getting the temperature data only. Let me show you. I'll just name this function as temperature data. So as the temperature data is stored in the payload function, we are returning the message as it is. We are not manipulating that variables. Okay, just click on done. And if I add another debug node and connect it with this, so now if I click on deploy button, I should get the temperature and humidity data separately. Let's just see. Let me inject here. Okay, as you can see, first is the temperature data, which is 28 degrees Celsius, and second is the humidity data, which is 41%, and we got the data separately. So this is how you can use the DHT11 sensor using Node-RED with the help of this DHT11 node. I hope you got the basic idea about how to use this DHT node as well as how to use the function node as well. So now let us move on to the last part of this episode, and that is to make our demo project of controlling LEDs as well as monitoring sensors data using Node-RED dashboard. Let's just jump on to how to make it.